What's up, guys? It's John, and this is a update video on the theme 4 for EmuELEC. Shout out to my friend Kirk, aka Cubert1. Put a link to his YouTube channel below with more in the info box. He helped put this together, so thank you, Kirk. You can do amazing things on this Odroid N2 Plus, and this is a single board computer, and you can put a whole bunch of emulation games on here. Here is an example of a manual. People have scanned manuals, which is awesome. This is Aladdin. By the way, Aladdin for the Genesis or Mega Drive, by far, in my opinion, better than the Super Nintendo. I know it's a debate. I've heard people say the Super Nintendo one's better. I've got to say, though, the Genesis one is better. It's been ported recently to modern consoles as well as part of the collection with the Lion King. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Which one is better? I vote for the Genesis version. You can change the way these games are laid out as well, different themes. This is the carousel one with the boxes and the marquee in the top right corner there. This is the one I prefer. Some games, most games in the Super Nintendo have retro treatments, which I plan on doing a future video on more in detail. Here's Contra 3 manual. Also has the Vectrex is on here too, and there's overlays I want to show you. And back to the manual thing, I was looking at Final Fantasy 3, for example, for Super Nintendo. There's 83 pages in that manual, completely scanned, pretty cool, high detailed, high quality scans. I want to show you Vectrex because Vectrex is a system that's been pretty hard to emulate because it's got the vector graphics, right? And the N2 Plus does a really good job with, here's the manual as well, with the graphics and kind of the sharpness. It's got the flicker. It's got the bright lights. You've got the overlays now, which I'll show you. This is Scramble, which is a fun game. So we'll go to the game. There are screenshots now in this build too, and I'll do a future video on screenshots and how that works. You can see this starts kind of a regular. It takes a few seconds for it to load the overlay. This is what it looks like normally without the overlay. And the Vectrex, the way it worked is they had these plastic overlays you put over the screen itself, kind of add color because it was a black and white system, came out in the early 80s. I have actually a couple of Vectrex. It is one of my favorite systems, retro systems. It's so unique and there's a lot of cool games for it. Only a handful came out. But you can see here, you can see the little flickering of the lights. That's exactly how it was. It's such a unique system to play, and trying to do some, you can't really do any game capture on it because it's own monitor, and if you do camera it just flickers even more. So this is a really good way to capture gameplay footage of the Vectrex, make it look legit with overlay and everything. So I think that's a really cool example. This game is a lot of fun. It's a very retro. There was a Star Trek game for the Vectrex, never a Star Wars game. I think there might have been a Star Wars homebrew game that came out for it, but that's pretty awesome. Okay, we'll move on to a different system. I'm going to show you arcade. We're going to do Final Burn Neo. This is my favorite arcade emulators because it has retro achievements also with a lot of the games, so we're going to check it out. Love the intro here too. That's really cool, this particular build. Classic game. We'll start with Donkey Kong because I think most of you guys are probably familiar with that. These are new bezels that we've added, or Kirk has added, and the group there, EmuLec have added, which is really cool. So I want to show you, this looks just like I'm actually filming my actual arcade cab. This is all emulation. And you can see the reflection on the bezel. You can hear the noise is a little bit more staticky. So it kind of sounds like it would from an arcade. This is probably the best way I've seen to play an arcade through, a classic arcade game through emulation. I have actually own an original Donkey Kong arcade. It's a phenomenal game, one of my favorites. The shaders have been added to make it look like it's curved. You've got the scan lines, of course, and the music just adds it in the reflection. Super cool. Let me show you some other examples of some other classic arcade games that you can play here using the bezels that you can scan for. This is Final Fight, another great beat 'em up. This is by Capcom. Really fun, been ported to a handful of consoles, of course. I'd say the Sega CD one is my recommended preferred choice to play for home port, but of course arcade method beats it. But you can see the curvature of the shader here. The bezel looks super cool. Again, you've got some reflection. It looks like I'm playing used through just looking at an arcade, which is awesome. And Hagar is definitely my favorite of the three main characters. Okay, next game I'm going to show you another classic, Galaga. This is just an iconic game also for a classic arcade, and I'm going to show you, most of you guys I'm assuming have seen a Galaga arcade bezel or machine, so you kind of see what. But this is going to start off regular. You can kind of see it's loading the boot up for the arcade. you normally would. Going through all the prompts. Still looks good even without the bezel overlay. Still looks pretty solid, but then you can see now they've added the bezel overlay, and just again you get the reflection, you get the audio static, which is my favorite feature, honestly. It's the subtle things that make it look like you're actually playing and feeling like you're playing an actual arcade game, and it controls great. There's no lag or anything like that, and I think the shaders and scan lines just really make it just a world of difference with the curvature and all that good stuff too. This game is very addicting, by the way. Galaga is one of my favorites as well. Really quick exit. Start and select to exit out of the games really quick. The N2 Plus is super fast to load games, load the cores. Let's check out the original Mario Brothers, when Mario was actually wearing a blue hat. And this is a really fun game as well. And this is before the bezel. It takes a couple seconds for it to load the bezel. It's got the scan line still. Looks great still. There's a bezel. You get the reflection there. This is a super wide body Nintendo arcade cabinet when it came out. You could play 2 players at the same time, which was a big deal in the arcades. And this game ate a lot of quarters. So if you ever played Virtual Boy, Mario Clash is a kind of a spiritual successor follow-up to this one. It's in 3D, which is a really fun game. But this is one that kind of started all for Mario on his own. And the follow-up to this, of course, was Super Mario Brothers, which many of us know, of course, being iconic for the NES. But this is the one that was a big hit for Nintendo in the arcades. It's cool to see a wide body in the arcade as well. I liked this one. I also liked Popeye a lot. There was a lot of good Nintendo arcade cabinets that came out in the 80s. There's Popeye, speaking of which. Check out Street Fighter 2, another classic Capcom game. Pac-Man. Oh, this is Pac-Man. This is not Pac-Man. This was the Japanese version. They called it Pac-Man. And it was going to be ported to the States under Pac-Man, but they were worried that people were going to change the P to an F. And so they were worried that the people were going to change it, so they changed it to Pac-Man. But this is just basically Pac-Man. You can see that the bezel looks great. Another iconic game. So if you're looking to play some really cool classic games through emulation, the EmuELEC and N2 Plus, it may be a great platform for you to do so. It's a lot of fun. You can play hours playing these for sure. At least I can anyway. The last thing I want to show you is the N2 Plus isn't just a great system for playing games, but it's a media system as well. You can play a lot of great, you can add media to it, videos and music videos and music and things like that. So I want to show you an example of loading a music. Let's go to my media player, and the one I want to show you is a classic Pac-Man cartoon show, which came out in the 80s, and the guy who put these out remastered them, which is cool. So I don't know if I'm dating myself because I'm pretty old, but very cool. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Leave a comment below. Thanks for subscribing.